Hey there, and welcome to the Bold Badass Business Show, where we bring you badasses from all over the world. And you all today, I am so excited to have in the house Liam Austin, all the way from Sydney, Australia. Woo! Where it's like 8:30 in the morning now. And you all, Liam has worked with over 100,000 business owners through Entrepreneurs HQ. He has been in the digital internet marketing space since 2001, right, Liam? Long time, long time. And he's one of these people who I've seen, he's popped up here and there. And then when I found out about what he is going to share with us today, I was so excited because all the time people are saying, how do I get booked on podcast, Barnsley? Dr. Barnsley, what do I do to get on a podcast? And those who have podcasts are looking for great guests. So let me just say that today you're going to learn to book your calendar full of dates with this Hot Podcast Matchmaker. Don't you love the title? And we, of course, are making a pun there. So you're hot too, Liam. You're hot. You definitely hot, but the what you've created is even hotter. So welcome to the show.
Thanks very much for having me, Barnsley. And yeah, I mean, Sydney, Australia right now is hot. And yeah, we're trying to take that theme across into everything that we do. But yeah, for sure, like it's exciting to, we've got this new digital platform, podcasting. I mean, it's been around for a long time, like a decade plus now. It's hitting the mainstream. It's due to grow by over 100 million in the next 2 years in terms of 100 million new listeners, like age 12 plus adult population. So this is an audience, a platform that you can get featured on to reach your target audience and make an impact.
Yeah, and make an impact and also make money because, many people give up on podcasting because they're not monetizing, but there are plenty of ways we can monetize as well. And I know you get into that as well. So you all, since it was Valentine's Day, we had some fun with the title, right? So hence the Hot Podcast Matchmaker. And the big reveal is we're not talking about Liam. Sorry, Liam. We're talking about tell them what you created. But first of all, Liam, I'm jumping ahead. First of all, tell us a little bit about your background because you just have a really super interesting background.
Yeah, well, without going back too far, because 2001 was when I first made my very first online sale. So selling to someone over the internet that I'd never met before, never spoken before. It was just an online sale. So that was really exciting. I was working for an internet startup at the time. And ever since then, I've been involved in the online world, whether it's some kind of marketing position or sales or just running online businesses for other people as well as starting my own. But the most recent, I suppose, avenue that I've been getting featured on shows, on podcasts, particularly digital stages, summits, because I've run virtual summits since 2015, and virtual summits are typically a multi-day event with multiple speakers or focusing in on one topic. And as a host of one of those events, you're looking for the right speakers, the right collaboration partners, maybe sponsors, people who can help you create an amazing event that really positions you as an authority, as an expert, and really announces you out into your market, into your niche. So running those summits myself, I've invited over 400 speakers onto those events. I've been helping hundreds of my students create their own stages, so podcasts, YouTube shows, like whatever kind of digital stage they want to host, where they can stand up and showcase their expertise, their skills to their audience. And they want to bring in experts too. So they're looking for speakers. They're looking at, well, how do I, share my message out there to new audiences? So how do I get in front of other people's audiences? And that is, well, getting on their show. So finding out who other show hosts are, podcast hosts, summit hosts, or some other kind of show host, and getting on stage, speaking to their audience. That's been the focus, really getting in front of other people's audiences, creating your own events. And that's what's led me to createtalks.co.
I love it. And your mic is kind of going in a little bit in and out. So we might have missed a bit of that, but just yeah, we'll keep on going. And so you've been in this space for a very long time. How did it feel when you had that first sale? I want to ask, how did it feel when you had that first sale on the internet in 2001? Somebody you didn't know.
Yeah, well, I'd been working for a company that was making online sales for a while, and I was like, wow, they're making this seem so easy. And I thought, oh, well, this is exciting. This is great. Like, you're making sales overnight, and you're sleeping. And I'm thinking, I'm here in Australia, I'm separated from the US, from Europe, from some of these big markets. So it was exciting to be able to make sales all around the world. And I was seeing that happening, but for someone else, like the company I was working for.
Yeah.
So I started my own business, and it took a little while to get that first sale. But once it came through, I was like, wow, like it is possible for me to make sales online. I think,
it's possible.
Yeah. When you make your first sale online, everyone gets that first feeling that it's like, oh, wow, like this has maybe been a dream of mine for a long time, but now it's real. Now I can see it for myself. It can actually happen for me. I can make sales online, and now I've got my first one, and it's about continuing that momentum.
I love that. Yeah, it's like that first one. I remember the first time somebody ordered my ebook, and it was somebody in Italy, and I was like, what? I loved that idea that somebody was sitting in Florence, sipping their cappuccino or going to that wonderful gallery there. And, they were reading my ebook. It's a wonderful thing. And you have definitely taken internet marketing strategies to so many people. And I think it's really important to have someone who knows what they're doing in this field, because there are a lot of people who are kind of self-proclaimed internet marketers. And, they may not have the results, sometimes they just don't have the results. But I know that you've got a long track record. So let me ask you this before we get into the Hot Podcast Matchmaking platform a little more. What would you say to people who are thinking, well, I don't know if I can go into the internet space. I've always done business, more face to face with people I know, like, and trust. What would you say about that? What would you say to them?
I think that
other than you're freaking stupid.
Yes, like, just do it, guys. Come on. Like, I think the internet, it's just a new method of communication. We went from, just speaking face to face to having, letters being sent to the telephone, to now video calls, to live video calls, to recorded video, and things that can live out there on the internet and make sales automatically because they are recorded. There's something that you've created earlier, and it's just like, it's almost like cloning yourself. So yes, you can go and do these one-on-one sales in person, but imagine having hundreds of you or even thousands of yourself out there just marketing yourself, promoting yourself. And ultimately, that's what is happening. If you are featuring yourself on all these other podcasts, people are listening to you on shows in their ear as they're doing housework, walking around anywhere in the world, traveling on a plane, listening to you, and they're learning you. They're learning about you. They're beginning to see your skills, your credibility. There's trust being built, and ultimately, they're looking to maybe dive a bit deeper into what you do, into your world, and hopefully become a paying customer and a client.
I love that the idea of cloning. You're cloning yourself. And Liam, I've been taking this class that's pretty interesting with a death doula. A death doula. There are people who aren't just doulas for birth, but they kind of carry people through the death process. How wild is that? And this class is on living fully and dying prepared. And I'm like the youngest member in there, but I took it because a friend of mine it's her like beta. Okay. And what I've thought about so much from that class is, what is our legacy? And really think about it. Everything that you do on the internet, this episode, every webinar you've done that's up there, your YouTube channel, the social media you all post, unless you only post for 30 days, whatever, that is all going to be there as long as the internet exists. which is wild. It's a wild thought that people down the road, instead of reading the classics, the classics of all the great writers, they're going to be looking at us on YouTube and talking about our funny hair and our weird clothes and our weird ideas. We were so backwards, right? But it's going to be out there. So I think now is a tremendous opportunity to get your story and your message and your mission out there. We have so many ways to do it.
There are. I think it's growing. We're in this changing world. There's new opportunities happening all the time. Like, you see this AI coming into the world, and it's helping to everyone to just get access to more information and get support. And it's affecting mega companies, big corporations like Google, who are being resting on their laurels for quite a number of years, like decades really, and now they're having to quickly innovate and change and improve. Like, there's new opportunities for all of us here. And yeah, I think it's an exciting time to be alive and to start, even if you've never been online before, just showing up, creating content, and showing up authentically as yourself, because I think that's the best way to build that know, like, and trust factor and enjoy your business at the same time. Just show up, be yourself, and have fun.
I love that. And that's really what Bold Badass Business Show is about. And just getting great people like you doing incredible work out even wider. And I love that with podcasts, a lot of people don't realize this, but podcasts are really the best one-on-one you could ever have with somebody. You don't need to do a one-on-one meeting. Do a podcast and broadcast that sucker out, and get what you talk about to go to a lot of people. So it's just this incredible way to leverage relationship, to leverage your expertise, all of that. So I guess I want to ask you one more funny thing before we get into, I never know exactly what I'm going to ask, Liam, but what's your worst podcast experience? Don't say names, of course, but what's your worst podcast experience? Let's have some fun with that. I can tell you my worst interview, but let's hear yours first.
Yeah, I think there's probably been a couple. And ultimately it just comes down to not being prepared. I can think of a couple of times where, I travel a lot. I'm living in Europe. I also travel to Australia. I've got clients in the US, Canada. Like, I travel a lot, and sometimes I'm scheduling shows that are at in different time zones. So just making sure that matches up. And definitely in the past, when I was just beginning, I made some mistakes, I think, there, not getting the time zones right and having to get up at 2, 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. And I can tell you, like, you're not performing at your best if you're tired. So that's been a definite no-no. There's some lessons there, guys. If, make sure that you're alive, you got energy, you've got, just had a cup of coffee, or, you're fueled, you're hydrated when you show up, and you can come as your best self, showing up authentically, but giving value, I think, is really, really important. So there's been times where I've suffered there. And again, just other times where maybe either the host hasn't been prepared or there's been some kind of miscommunication. I think it's really important to be really clear on that, because sometimes I've showed up to some shows and the host hasn't been prepared. They maybe have not done their research, and then maybe the best self or the best opportunity for the hosts listeners to get the highest amount of value is potentially missing there. So I think making sure you're showing up on time, number one, and then coming prepared. And there's clear communication, so you can bring your best self, the best value for the listeners is where I've learned to focus my energies.
I love it. And it's not a one-way interview. It's dual. So my worst experience was with someone who asked, they were just monotone and the questions were terrible, Liam. And so you know what I did? And the energy was like flat. I mean, it was flatter than, it was flatter than the Sierra Desert. And I finally started asking him questions. I was like, well, so what gets you excited about your show? because it was that bad. It was that bad. So I would just say, show up with, you don't have to be, nobody needs to be perfect. Nobody likes that. In fact, nobody likes a Barbie, right? Don't be perfect. Just be you. But show up with energy, with passion, which I know you have huge passion. I actually have a lot of passion for your brainchild, which is, by the way, you all, we're going to give you a special link at the end so you can check out what we're talking about. But I heard Liam give a webinar, gosh, probably back in maybe, was it October? And I just thought it was excellent about this platform he's created. But I want you to go to a special link. Don't go to talks.co. I'm going to give you a special link later so you can see exactly what we're talking about. And I got on there, and what it has allowed me to do is highly automate the process of meeting people I want to have on my show or people I want to do podcast swaps with. So I come on their podcast, they come on mine, or people who want to have me on their show. So that is an incredible thing you've created, Liam. How did you think this up? What was the inspiration?
Well, yeah, thanks for introducing that. And it is really exciting. I've seen you on the platform. I've seen like people wanting to connect with you, requesting, to be on your show or to have you on their show. So that's really exciting. That's why we built the platform for podcasters, for event hosts, but anyone who's an expert, maybe that you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a coach, to get featured on podcasts, to get visibility, to get in front of new audiences. And where did it come from? Well, running summits is kind of my background. So finding speakers, those 400 speakers, there was a process to it. It wasn't always easy to find people who kind of matched my criteria, which was, okay, they bring a lot of value, they are an expert in the space, they come with a collaborative type of approach, and they're willing to come bring their best and support this event, right? Like a summit is typically a really collaborative event where everyone involved comes together to make an amazing event for the attendees. So helping other people create summits, find speakers, and also get on other shows as well, other summits, other podcasts. Like I've been featured on over 60 different podcasts, sharing my message out there, and people learn about me. They start following me, maybe join my email list, join the Talks platform. And that's why I started it, just because I was doing a lot of this manually with my students, matching, okay, you should be on this person's show and they should be on your show, and here you guys meet. And it was very manual. It was also closed because it was only my students. So we created the Talks platform to automatically match you with the right shows to be on, to be featured as an expert, as a guest, to be interviewed. And then on the other side of things, if you're running your podcast or show, you can find experts, speakers, authors, coaches to come and provide insight, unique opinions and insights for your market, your industry, just to make your show a little bit more interesting.
And you know what? I have met incredible people through the platform, by the way. I totally fell in love with Kathy Baldwin, shout out to Kathy, of Unlearn That Crap. We got together and did the most incredible episode on her show, Liam. And then we thought she thought we had actually not recorded it. And sent me a message, and I said, oh shit. But she got her tech team to get it back. But Kathy was amazing, and I'm having her on my show. And you've got some of the biggest players too. You've got Kim Crow of Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. You've got some amazing players who are there. And so what I want to say to the people listening is that, let's be real. A lot of people do podcasts and they don't have that many people watching or listening. All right, let's be real. And I would way rather be where I am than on every single platform out there and see how many people have viewed just on Facebook, etc. So what I would say to everybody is, if you want to get in a bigger arena with some people who have some excellent shows, then you want to definitely come and experience the platform. And I have had, it's not just for coaches, speakers, and authors too. I want to clarify that, Liam, because I've had a dentist contact me to be on the show. He has an unusual, I forgot, an unusual way of hiring. And he wanted to share that on the show for small business owners. So it's not just, really podcasting is for anybody who has a small business. And think about it, are people going to read a book? I mean, think about it, y'all. Are people going to read a book? Most people don't read, which is sad, I think, but they don't. And they will watch a video podcast, or they will listen to you while they're out walking the dog.
Yeah, that's crucial. Like you're comparing like podcasting and the listeners and the relationship you have with some other platforms that exist at the moment. Like if you take Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, like these short video platforms, they're promoting these short videos where people maybe are scrolling through and they watch 5-10 seconds and then they're scrolling through to the next one. Like you're not building deep relationships with people. Right. With podcasting, when people listen to your episode, they're spending 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever it may be, deep in conversation, I suppose, because they're listening to a conversation. They feel like they're part of it. They feel like they know you because they're spending so much time with you. And there has been studies and research that shows that people buy more when they hear you on a podcast, or they've been heard about your brand from someone else being referred on a podcast. And I think that's the way to go. Like it's more likely that you're going to monetize what you're doing to get more clients and customers and move someone quicker from just getting more visibility, because there's different types of visibility, right? Like service level or much deeper. And podcasting is definitely on the deeper level where you can really build a relationship quickly with your target audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And people get to know you, and so much of who we work with is based on who they are, and especially in the coaching arena, you want to make sure that you jive with that person and that, you're comfortable with them. So I think it really is a great way to do it. And people like to see, this is the other thing, Liam, and on Valentine's Day, we get to do some different stuff. People like to pull back the red curtain, and see, hey, what's it like there for this guy? I mean, what was the worst thing that ever happened in his business? And what was the best thing? Or, I know you're engaged right now, right? You're engaged. When are you getting married? He's getting married, you all. Sorry, the Hot Podcast Matchmaker, Liam, is off he's off the, the market, so to speak. So you're getting married soon, right?
Yeah, so we got engaged. I got engaged to my partner, Sarah, just as COVID hit. Like literally we were overseas. I proposed to her on a mountain at a ski resort, and we pretty much got down from the mountain, and this pandemic was hitting the world. And so it kind of put pause on our wedding plans, but hopefully something like that happens soon for us, but there's no specific date.
That's crazy that was before COVID, when COVID hit. I was on my way to New Orleans. I was about to get on a plane and everything shut down. I remember it so very well. It's crazy to think about the last few years for all of us. And that's another thing. Would you say, podcasting, I think, has grown so much because of COVID too? Because when you're sitting at home, what are you going to do? How many movies can you really watch? How many episodes of The Walking Dead? All of them. But anyway. Yes. And I think
you think of some of the biggest shows, podcasting, like many of you have probably heard of Joe Rogan. If you haven't, go check him out. But a lot of his episodes are 2-3 hours in length. And this is what I'm talking about when we're comparing some of these, shorter video platforms versus 2 to 3 hours in someone's ear listening to you. There's being a connection built. There's so much value in that. And then you look at the most recent presidential election in the US, those top candidates are being featured on podcasts. They're seeing the value of getting in front of these new audiences, getting on this new digital platform. It's, you think of PR and typical press releases to the traditional media, but now the new media is, on podcasting, they're digital stages. And that's why, I'm so passionate about this. And I know, you're getting good results. And this is where people are flocking to platforms like Talks to find shows and match with other influencers, experts in their niche.
Absolutely. And it's the great equalizer, because you don't have to get an NBC spot. One of my clients recently got an NBC spot. That's all great and good, but you don't have to do that. You can start your own show. Those of you listening, it's as easy as getting a StreamYard account. I highly recommend StreamYard and starting your own video show. Liam, what about video versus audio? Let's get into that a little bit, because I so much prefer, I never did just audio. I love video, because we want to see people in their office or their hotel room, where they are, with their dogs, with their, who are they? Who is that person?
100% agree. Like video just allows you to have a deeper connection with someone. You can see them, you can see the mannerisms, you can maybe read their face a little bit to understand, maybe what's going on in their world. And, you recognize that face as well, which is part of your personal brand. A lot of the clients that we work with at Entrepreneurs HQ, my other business, are individual solopreneurs who are trying to create their own business. They're maybe selling courses or coaching programs, and your personal brand, your face is important. And I talk about showing up authentically, being yourself. And when you do that, even if you're making mistakes, well, people even connect with you deeper when they realize, hey, this person who I maybe look up to, or who I maybe see as an influencer, as a micro celebrity in my niche, they're real person. They're just like me.
They're just like me. And I love that with, one of my main messages is that everyone matters. And I love that with podcasting, somebody who's over in, Tanzania can be watching, all over the world. It creates a global community. And that's why I think it's absolutely essential for every small business owner, for sure. It's the best way to get your message out. So what I love too, coming back to your platform, Liam, what I love is that you have made it possible for us to just quickly, it's like Tinder for podcasts. It's like Tinder for podcasts, or whatever, Bumble or Match.com for podcasts, because you can really just accept or decline someone reaching out to you. And actually, I think I've only declined one person, because I always think it's important to communicate with someone and just say, hey, thank you so much for your interest. Right now, I'm really looking for podcast swaps. Do you have your own podcast? But I think I did decline one person because I just didn't see any connection there. But most of the people you accept, and then you can have a conversation once both of you have chosen each other. And that just makes life so much easier. You don't have to go out and pound the pavements looking for podcasts to be on.
Well, yeah. And that's a really important point that you brought up there. Like the way that you communicate, the way that you reach out to influencers in your niche, it's really important. Like building that relationship right from the get-go and how it begins. First impressions, they count. And in researching and building this tool, I went out there and interviewed dozens of podcast hosts, many with hundreds of episodes, tens of thousands of downloads. So really successful podcasters. And they were telling me that we've got a problem. We've got a real big issue in the marketplace right now. And that is that podcasters are getting spammed. They're getting spammed by people wanting to be on their show. And they're irrelevant pitches. They're
it's annoying as hell.
Not personalized. It's horrible experience for hosts. That. And probably everyone who has a show is probably nodding their head right now saying, yes, stop sending me spam messages trying to get on my show, because it's wasting everyone's time, and it's actually showing you in a really bad light. So when we built the platform, we wanted to make sure that there was no spamming. Both parties have to show interest before you connect and can send each other messages. So that basically means, you were talking about the Tinder, where you show interest in people. And if the other person shows interest, then you're matched and you can have a conversation. That's exactly how the Talks platform works. You say, yep, I'm interested in this speaker, having this speaker on my show. I'm interested in them. And then that speaker will look at your profile and say, yes, I'm interested as well. And once both of you have shown interest, confetti will fall, magic happens, you'll be connected, and you can actually just, hey, let's jump on a call. Let's record an episode.
The stars will align. The stars will align and all will come together. But it really is great because, people will ask me too, how do you find your guests? Well, I meet interesting people all the time. Who doesn't? And usually I can tell, is this going to be a person who's going to be educational and entertaining, because that is what we want to have. But you can kind of tell there are people in these networking events who are like, hi, I'm John, and I want to speak on podcast. And I think, oh, hell no. It's a lot easier to say no to those people through a platform. Thank you for that, Liam. I'm not good at saying no to somebody, that way, but it just makes it a lot easier. It's like,
and it's anonymous as well. Like if you say no, I'm not interested in this particular profile that the Talks AI is suggesting to you, then that's okay. Like they'll never know. You only ever know if both parties say yes, and then you can talk, right? So it eliminates any spam. There's no reason to cold outreach, but instead you are being recommended shows, you're being recommended speakers, and you just show interest. And if both parties say interested, then bang, you can move forward really quickly, knowing with confidence that, okay, this other person's interested in recording this episode together. Let's move forward fast to get this, this information, this value, this reaching new audiences as soon as possible.
And the great thing is that when you have that one-on-one, as I call it, in podcasting, it leads to other opportunities. It leads to other partnerships. It doesn't just stay, when there's that chemistry and that connection and the right fit in terms of audience, it doesn't just stop there. The relationship continues. And I love that as well. I've gotten to meet some really high level people who I never thought I'd meet, Liam, for real. Some really high level people like Marcy Scheimoff and Natalie Ledwell, and definitely you, and just having people on here and just realizing, it's the great equalizer. Podcasting.
We've kind of been, we've been scratching the surface on the value of, okay, you can get a podcast, you can share your message, you can get in front of new audiences. But you've just, touched on a really important point of, I think it's super important. If you are a host of a show, and I recommend everyone, if you're wanting to be a guest on other people's shows, you should absolutely have your own show as well. And I'll just illustrate your point by giving an example of my experience running my very first event, my summit back in 2015, where I invited 35 people to come and speak at that event. Some of those were great collaboration partners for that event. I had 15,000 people attend the event. I had 15,000 leads, huge. Email addresses. It was huge. I was super excited. And that's what kickstarted everything. But some of those collaborating partners on that event who spoke at the event, provided content for the event, helped me promote the event, they've now been some of my best JV partners throughout the years. Like for the last 10 years, since 2015, some of them have been promoting me every single year. Some of them we've invested in each other's companies together. And that all came from me just inviting them to speak, to do an interview on my show. Absolutely. It's amazing what can just spark from having your own show and inviting someone to share their message.
I love that. And really summits, so much of summits from my experience is about meeting the other speakers. It's really about meeting the speakers, not just the audience that may be listening, but meeting the other speakers. So you all, podcasting is a fabulous form of networking. It's like networking with purpose. I actually, Liam, okay, so we kind of tell the real deal on the Bold Badass Business Show. This is the no BS zone. So what I love just telling people is like, I really don't do many one-on-ones anymore unless there's some element of interest in either wanting that person on my show or wanting to be on theirs or both. There are not a lot of, I just don't accept one-on-one requests from people who are like, yeah, let's have a one-on-one. Well, what's the point? That sounds terrible, Liam, but it's the truth, how is it that we might potentially take this relationship and package it so other people could benefit, that's always my question. But it's not hard-hearted, but it is practical, because there are plenty of people who have these one-on-ones and nothing happens. Nothing.
I think it's important. Like, there's different people in the world with different values, backgrounds, upbringings, and I think that definitely, like the 80-20 rule. I've had 400 speakers on my event. I'd say, 80 of them, so 20% of them have become good friends, good partners, someone that I can reach out to at any point, and we have a good relationship. We share knowledge, expertise. Like, if they're having a problem with their business, they might reach out to me, and we have this open relationship. We've built this, friendship off the back of just having this one-on-one initial interview together. And I think that's life. Like, we're talking business here and making impact, making money, and changing people's lives. But what about our own life? We're doing this. I'm certainly doing it because my partner's Swedish. So we need to travel and to spend time with our families around the world. So we need this online business. We need the flexibility. And so we want to enjoy our life. It's why we've created the business, to have great friendships, to have great families, and build these relationships. And so why can't you have amazing relationships with, other people who are in your niche, who are playing in your space? Because who knows, maybe you'll do a joint venture at some point, or you'll buy their company, or they'll buy you. And there's all these opportunities.
To somebody who does, it doesn't need to come from that person. It may be through that person, which is, I think, what people forget sometimes too. I just came back from a wonderful conference in Orlando, Liam, the Soulful Leadership Conference, which was put on by David Ricklin and Mark Porteous, and of the JV Directory, and other heavy hitters there. Well, the good thing is I'd had some of them on my show, so I got to meet them in person. And guess what? We hugged. There was already connection there. It wasn't, there was already a relationship there, and it just made it so much easier to do the networking period and meet with everybody. It was exciting. I had somebody say to me, and this made me laugh, Liam, but I want everyone to really hear this, because, I haven't just done digital marketing at all like you. I'm very traditional in that I'm known in my area, and I love networking in person, right? But what I have found is that now people are like, you're everywhere online. No, I'm not everywhere online. But because they see my name, or they see a post, or somebody who's big may share it on their social media, like my followers went up several thousand immediately when Natalie Ledwell was on. It just went up just like that when she posted. So just realizing that this is something that's cumulative, but it's extremely powerful for your visibility and your reach. It really is. And not to be overlooked.
I think just like content creation now, in this AI world where, content is really quick and easy to create, but in terms of like turning on video, like this can't be replicated. Like audio, I mean, they're getting close with AI, but they're not quite there yet. But I think that more so than ever, like, people want to do business with people. They don't want to do business with a faceless organization or a robot or an AI, right? Like, they want to know the face, the person behind it. They want this authenticity. That's what people connect with, and makes it easier for people to purchase from. And so creating content, showing up and sharing value, like real value, your experience, your knowledge, to help people out, like, people are going to want to listen to you more. They're going to want to spend more time with you. And then hence, you meet them in the real world. There's a hug, there's a relationship there, and there's that trust, and who knows where that can lead to.
Who knows where it can lead? And it's I feel personally that everything, all the energy we give out always comes back, not from the same people, but just it always circulates back. It's like a law of the universe. What we give out is going to come back multiplied. So, look at what you're giving out. That's for one thing. Think about that, you all. Are you putting positive vibes into the world? Those of you listening, I hope you are. If you're on Bold Badass Business, I think you are, because we try to do that every single week. So Liam, I know that we're going to put you into the freebie vault, which, by the way, now's the time I'm going to give you all the special link. Who's excited? Who's excited? Woohoo! Here we go. The special link for you to get thousands and thousands of dollars of gifts, you all. And these are checklists. These are e-courses. These are video courses. These are templates. There are all sorts of things in there. Free sessions. There is so much for you to choose from in the freebie vault. Here's the link. Grab your pen or your pencil. Put the dog leash down in your walk. Put your foot on it so the dog doesn't run off. And go to bit.ly/free from Dr. B, which is DRB. So again, bit.ly/free from Dr. B. DRB. We made it rhyme, so it's easy for you to remember. So opt in, just put in your name and email. We are not going to spam you. We don't do that. We don't sell your information. Ugh, I hate those people. And you'll be able to find Liam's podcast matchmaking platform with a sample. You'll be able to see the profile I put up there to give you an idea of what you can do. And what's great about that is maybe you're not even going to need to fill out any of these applications that some podcast hosts ask you to do, because they've already read your profile. They don't need an application. It saves you time, saves you energy. Plus, as Liam pointed out, the AI is matching you up based on your target audience, your expertise, your interests. All right. So it just makes life so much easier and faster. And in this day and age, when we need to focus on our high value revenue generating activities, anytime that we can have something automated is a huge plus. So again, everybody, bit.ly/free from Dr. B. And Liam, okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is there anything special, like a little special code or something you'd like to give everybody that they could use when they go in there, when they say, oh my God, I've got to be part of this. I don't want to have to go beat the pavement to find my podcast guest spots. I want to get in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, something or a bonus or something interesting? Your dog? Yeah. How about your
dog? So if you want to get featured on shows, whether they're podcasts or in-person stages, like you need a speaker one sheet. So when you go grab your free account at Talks, obviously grab that, go through this special link for Barnsley just provided, but you'll go through to Talks and you'll create your speaker one sheet. You can create your unique username. So for instance, my speaker one sheet is talks.co/Liam. And it's just, you'll be able to go talks.co/your name or your personal brand or even your show name, whatever you decide. But that's your unique link to showcase that, hey, I'm an authority. I've got a message to share and I'm willing to come on your show and I'm professional about it, right? It's really short, 5-letter domain, talks.co/your username to go straight to your speaker one sheet. And if you decide, that's free, you can get matched for free. There's a limited number of connections. But if you want to upgrade, we do have a few different options there. You can upgrade. It just means you get more visibility on the platform. You show up at the top of search results. You get more matches. You get seen by more matches. You get more connections, which means you get opportunities to be on more shows. You get featured in front of more of other people's audiences. So if you want that, you can use coupon code TALKS-OTO, so TALKS-OTO, and that'll give you a 50% discount on the pro level of Talks. And that's for the moment. I don't know how long that will be for, but yeah, if you're hearing this, go try that code now ASAP.
Liam, what's that code again? Give it to me so I can get it in the freebie bot.
Yeah, to get 50% off the pro account, use Talks-OTO. So that's TALKS-OTO.
And put that in as the coupon code. Yep.
Coupon code.
All right. We'll put that into the freebie bot for everybody. And I will tell you that I had the pro. I had forgotten you have a free account. Duh. You have a free account, but don't do the free account, you all. Don't be cheap. Stop. Go in and get your pro account because he just gave you a 50% off code. We will get the code in. I will send it to my VA. We'll have it there by Monday. All right, mark your calendar by Monday, the 17th of February. We will have that code in there for you. But you want to go pro. You want to go pro because that's where all the juice is. That's where you're going to get the connections to the people who are going to say, man, what you talk about is perfect for my show. And you'll be able to find the people who are perfect for yours. Well, Liam, I really appreciate you getting up super early, coming in from Sydney. I identify with what you said about time zones. The one time in my life when I missed a speaking thing was when it was a different time zone. I was so mortified. Yeah. Since then, I'm with you. I like Post-it notes all over about what time I have to be there in my time. So Liam, as a parting thing, what would you love to say to everybody just to inspire them, not just to sit here and listen to us talk about this, which is all fine and good, but we're about on the Bold Badass Business Show. You're bold when you take action. So what would you say to everybody if they're saying, well, I'm going to start a show. I keep hearing people say, I'm going to start a show in 2025. All right. How would you encourage them to get started just now? Just get it done.
I teach this all the time to my students, and it's really the same system that I started with in 2015. I created an event. I invited experts to come and speak on my show, and they were promoting to their audience that they were being featured on my show, and it brought in 15,000 leads. So getting in front of other people's audiences has been super powerful. It's why I created Talks. And I was starting from scratch. I was starting from zero. I had 15,000 people from zero straight into my CRM, into my database of leads who turned into customers who are still in my audience today, who tell me they were there back in 2015 on my very first show. And like being featured on other people's podcasts, getting in front of other people's audiences, this is where I'd focus on. If you're starting from scratch, or if you just need more traffic, more leads, more visibility, get in front of other people's audiences, give value, create your own show, create your own audience so you can invite others to come onto your show as well, so you can share the love a little bit. And yeah, special things can happen from that. I built in the first 18 months following this strategy, 100,000 leads coming into my database, 100,000 people giving me their email address to be on my list. Yeah, so I could nurture them, give them lots of love, and so they could buy from me maybe, and they still are, years later buying from me. And I think that's the message. Just get in front of other people's audiences if you're starting from scratch by giving value, sharing your expertise, and building relationships with the hosts, the influencers in your niche, as well as your target audience.
And I'll tell you all, I love helping bold spiritual entrepreneurs who are givers soar into six figures and more. And one of the fastest ways that can happen with you becoming known is having your podcast. And, I prefer video podcasts. So I'm just going to say that again. I'm just going to say it again, because I just think there's nothing like seeing the person, the energy, feeling the energy, seeing their environment, and getting a sense of who they are. Well, Liam, you have been a delight to have on the show, and I'm so happy we could do this on Valentine's Day. And I do believe that every podcast episode is an act of love. It's putting your message out and sharing it with the world. And you all, that's what we're here to do. All right. In the end, you can't take all the money with you. You can donate it. You can give it. You can save animals like I do, or you can stop human trafficking if that's what you care about. But the point is, every episode, every time that you share your story and your message is an act of love. And I usually don't talk about love on the Bold Badass Business Show, but I think it's important because it's Valentine's Day to think about your business and think about that business you're thinking about that you haven't started yet as an act of love. Well, Liam, you definitely are the Hot Podcast Matchmaker with the Hot Podcast Matchmaking platform. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And those of you who tune in every Friday, I have something super exciting to tell you. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I just found out that we are today on the 99th episode. 99. Woohoo! So next week will be 100, and I'm going to have to do something special. I won't flash you all, I promise, but something fun next week to celebrate the 100. And I'm guessing maybe some prizes. I don't know. Maybe I'll sing to you all, but make sure that you come to celebrate with us next Friday, 4:30 p.m., 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific, and whatever time it is in Sydney if you're there. And we'll see you then. Thank you again, Liam. You gave us so much to think about. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Manjali. Bye-bye.
And y'all go get your goodies in the freebie vault.